With over 200 cards in Distorted Reflections, it's tough to even know where to begin. How do we separate the potential meta from the bulk? That's what this series is all about. Continuing from our Exalted Element tier list, welcome to the full competitive set review, where we're breaking down some of the new cards that DTR gave us in a series of tier lists. And today, we're focusing on all of the new Regalia that we got access to because of Distorted Reflections. So let's hop into it. So one thing you'll notice right off the bat, there are some Regalia missing because they are Distortion Regalia, and we already covered those in our Distortion Regalia tier list. So I want to judge these for not being Distortion Regalia. I think anytime you look at any of the Distortion Regalia, they are best looked at in the light of either playing Looking Glass or a strategy that focuses on playing those particular cards. So let's leave that tier list where it's at, and we're going to take a look at all the other Regalia in DTR, starting off with Aqua Mirage Whisper, which is a Spell Shroud on hit glimpse 1 plus X, where X is the amount of damage dealt by this hit. Then put the top card of your deck into your graveyard. I feel like S tier is a lot to give this, so I feel like for now A tier. The reason I'll put this in S tier is because Spell Shroud. One of the biggest things that I've seen in the game, just from my short time playing, Spell Shroud is very useful for your core game pieces. My swords in Lorraine don't have Spell Shroud outside of Claret, and I have had people try to fracturize the Claret just so that they can make me burn the durability counters. So this having Spell Shroud is huge. You know what? Screw it. Screw it, it's S tier. It has Spell Shroud, it has the class bonus on hit to Glimpse, glimpsing being crucial to the Diana strategy no matter what version of it you're playing, and it's a 3 durability weapon, which means you get 3 uses out of it. Yeah, it's S tier. That's where I'll rock it. And if I'm wrong, y'all can let me know. We can come back and revisit this later, but I think this is just the ultimate. It's a 0 cost too, right? It's like, it feels like it's Lorraine. Sure, Diana has to be distant to actually materialize the weapon, but she gets to materialize any weapon of her choice. This one is a 0 cost with Spell Shroud and a good on hit to set her up for her future turns. I mean, it's hard. Why would you not run this? Like, even if you got other Either Wings, why would you not run this? So, you know what? S tier. That's what we'll leave it for now. Next up, we've got the Candlelight Hourglass, which is on enter, draw a card. On charge 2, it gains activated abilities of all allies you don't control, cost 2 more reserve to activate. And the reminder text is, at the beginning of your recollection phase, you put a charge counter on each object you control with an untriggered on charge ability. You trigger this ability the first time 2 charge counters are on it, which basically means you only get this once. I don't really see, unless we get, I think the biggest things, right, is we need to see more of a strategy for something like this. On enter, draw a card to replace the card you paid for the materialization is cool. You always appreciate that. But to really trigger that second ability, like, you have to essentially wait 2 turns unless you have a way to accelerate it. You know, if we had a card that said, I don't know, and if there is, you can let me know, but, you know, put more charge counters on it. I assume there isn't. So let's say you wait the 2 turns to be able to proc this, and then, oh, the activated abilities of allies you don't control cost 2 more to activate. It's like, oh, it feels like such a niche, such a specific card. Like, this would be a side deck card. And even then, like, I don't know, we would need some like really big ally cards in terms of like effects to really justify the spot for playing this. So right now, that's a D tier Regalia to me. That's a straight D tier. I could be changed if there's something that I'm overlooking. You guys can let me know in the comments down below, but I think that's D tier. Next up, Condemned Trinket, 0 cost. It is a pay 3 reserve, banish it, and you banish a card from your graveyard and put an Omen counter on it. So this is just a way to Omen ramp. I think because it's Omen ramp, you can put it in B tier. It's not really like it's amazing, right? It doesn't even give you like an extra card draw or anything, which, for what it's worth, it's only a 0 cost, but you do have to pay 3 to banish an additional thing. So CL himself is going to banish something himself at the end of turn, and you have ways to like swap things out. So this is one of the very few cards that we have that can put more omens in your banishment. So I think the cost and everything is justified, but It's not like it's an amazing card, and it's also not a bad card. So I think B is the perfect spot to put it at. Next up, we've got the Confidant's Oath. Whenever an omen is put on a card in your banishment, you put a refinement counter on Confidant's Oath. Then you pay 2, rest it, and remove 2 refinement counters, and you draw a card, which is, in a way, it's kind of crazy, right? I think just the sheer fact that you're always going to banish 1 card at every turn, which means at every other turn, this is kind of like the Merlin thing. You get to just draw a free card because your CL gets the free banishment. This is just going to put a refinement counter, and then you just pay 2. Well, I guess that's the big thing, right? You do have to pay 2. So Merlin just gets a free draw. This isn't necessarily a free draw, but it's pretty much a free draw. I think this card is really good, especially in a water strategy. The thing is, right, do you want to pay time to materialize this just for the extra draw? I think that's the big thing, especially because it's water and not wind. In water, you don't really have ways to get out extra regalia for cheap. So, you know, would I waste the materialization on this? I guess if I was trying to do a little bit more ramp for card draw, I don't know. It's tough to say. I think it's good. Or more specifically, I think it has potential. I guess because I said potential, right? I guess it should be C tier for potential. Yeah, it's good, but it's got potential, and I just don't see it just yet. But I think it has legs. I think it has legs. Next up, we've got the Devouring Malice, which is, it enters the field with X gem counters on it. So it has the X in the upper left, meaning that you pay whatever you want for that materialization cost, and then it gets that amount of gem counters. Now you rest it, remove a gem counter, and as a spell, you choose one that hasn't been chosen. Put 3 debuff counters on target ally, which is a -1/-1, -1 power, -1 life. Deal 3 damage to target champion and recover 3. Or deal 8 unpreventable damage to your champion and draw 2 cards. Now, the big thing about this is it's really only like a 3-use regalia, which isn't bad, right? But I mean, you are paying, if you're going to pay 3 for this, you will only get these abilities once each. So you generally only want to pay 1 to 2 just for one of these abilities. And how useful is that really, right? Because like deal 8 unpreventable damage to your champion and draw 2. I mean, you'd probably just rather like, I don't know, Chalice of Blood, or deal 3 to target champion and recover 3. I mean, there are so many other things you can do to deal 3 and recover 3. The 3 debuff counters, I guess that can matter, but I don't know, would I really care to play this? It's hard to say. I don't really see a use for it. I think that's D tier. I mean, if I had an F tier, I'd probably put it in F tier. I'm not gonna hold y'all. But if I'm wrong, you guys let me know. You got Foresight Lens, which is a banish it, glimpse 2 if your champion's distant, you glimpse 4 instead. There are so many ways to glimpse in Diana. I feel like this is just like an extra thing. Like, this is a starter deck card and it feels like a starter deck card. I think it's a good starter deck card and that's about it. But I guess just for a naked glimpse 2 even, it has legs. I don't know. I can see it having more use than Candlelight Hourglass. Do I see it having potential? That's the real question. Over other things that you would play? No, probably not. So I think that's D tier. Next up, we've got the Grand Archive. Might mispronounce that. That is a CL sword. As long as you have 2 or more ally omens, it gets +1 power. Now, this is a 0-cost sword, but you know, we talked about this in the distortion video. I would rather just play Looking Glass and play Inert Sword because I'm gonna get a 3/2 sword instead of a 2/2 sword that is dependent upon me having 2 or more ally omens. So D tier. Yeah. I really wouldn't even care to play this. I really would rather Inert or even Bulwark Sword. So yeah. Next up, we've got the Grande Sonnerie. As long as the total reserve cost of your omens is 10 or greater, it gets +2 power, and it's a native 2/3 sword. Now that's way better. And where do I put that at? Do I think it's B tier or do I think it's A tier is the real question. I guess because it's Umbra, right? With CL, by the time you're getting Omens and Banishment, if you're gonna get, by the time you hit, let's say you hit level 3 in stride, 3 turns, and you do a 3/2/2, that'll be 5/7. So one more turn, and you could potentially get the total reserve cost 10 or greater. I think it falls in line with what CL would want to do, especially as a 4/3 sword. So I'm gonna say it's A tier, because it doesn't feel like it's a reach. Yes, it does cost 1 to materialize, but it's going to be a 4/3 weapon, and CL has a bunch of attacks that swing for so much. I think it's not easy to get up to 10, but I think given the game plan, if you were playing the sword and you wanted a 4/3 sword, like the payoff for getting that 10 total reserve cost or more omen is worth it for a 4/3 sword. That's how I feel. Next up, we've got Lacuna's Grasp, which is a fire sword for CL. On attack, if there are no cards in the attacker's intent, you may pay X. X can't be more than the amount of omens you have. If you do, Lacuna's Grasp gains plus X power until the end of turn. So it's a base 1/2 sword. Let's say you have, 3-4 swords in banishment. If we're looking at this in the same light as Grande Sonnerie, that's going to be a 4/3. If you are, let's say you have like 3 to 4 omens, you pay 3 to 4 for this. That would make this come in for, what is that? 4 to 5. It feels like it's a little bit worse than Grande Sonnerie. The biggest thing is that you can use it outside of being, CL3. But I think for CL, the entire, you can play like I guess a norm or a naked element CL not going to level 3. I don't think you really have anything to gain though. Like I would rather, instead of playing Lacuna's Grasp, unless there was some other thing that would benefit me from playing a fire element sword, I would rather just gun for Grande Sonnerie, because I can use it multiple times. It's going to be base 4. It doesn't require me to pay anything. You also have to pay to materialize this. So yeah, I think I would just rather Grande Sonnerie. I think it has potential, I guess. Hit that word again, potential. So I think it's C tier. Legion's Wingspan. This is Diana's Wind Either Wing. On attack, for each wind element in the attacker's intent, choose an ally you control. That ally gets +1 power until the end of turn. I don't really know a lot of, I've put together an Either Charge tier list, which will be coming out soon. So wink, wink, subscribe if you want to see that. Giving allies +1 power. I think it has potential, but the big thing is playing Wind Diana, which right now, I don't really think that's viable. So, not D tier. I do think it has potential, so C tier. Next up, we've got the Leporine Mask, which is a 0-cost regalia, but you pay 6, you banish it, draw a card into memory, but the ability costs X less to activate, where X is the amount of omens you have. It's basically a late game's backup charger. So if you consider when you're at level 3, you would have 3 cards in your omens, then you would pay 3 for this. It's kind of like Guoja's, what's it called? Portentous Tengu, where it's pay 3, and then you do the same thing as backup charger. The only difference is that you get a quest counter for Guoja bonus. This doesn't really give you anything outside of like being less to activate for having omens. So I don't know. Personally, I think I would have made this cost 4. That way it's like, well, you would probably just rather play backup charger or Portentous Tengu. But then, for CL, it gives them a 1-cost draw card in the memory, which would make that card more worthwhile playing. Because right now, I just don't see dedicating deck space to play this card, so it's D tier. Yeah, I think it's D tier. Mana's Cascade. It is a 1-cost to materialize Either Wing for Water Diana. If there are 2 or more water element Either Charge cards in the attacker's intent, this attack gains +1 power and gains on champion hit that opponent banishes a card at random from their memory. That's straight A tier. That is so powerful, because being able to, there are a good portion of water element Either Charge cards. So being able to just gain a base +1, meaning that on like something like the Weaving Mana Stream and whatever else you would put in, you would be dealing base 4 damage. And then also, if they let that hit, they have to banish a card at random from their memory. So it's essentially a card rip. I mean, I'm tempted to even say that that is S tier too. The only reason I wouldn't say it's S tier is because it doesn't have Spell Shroud. Rightfully so, right? It shouldn't have Spell Shroud. But, you know, does that stop something like Prismatic from being S tier? I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out on a different tier list. But I think it's really good. A tier is where I'd put it at. Mansom Armoire. So this is the CL card that returns one of their omens from to hand. And then if they do, they banish a card and put an omen on it. So it basically lets them swap cards out. A tier for CL, it basically lets you recycle cards, right? Let's say there's something that you use. You could even, like, you use Baleful Ablation, then you banish it for omen, then you can use this to return Baleful to hand and put something else in, like an Advent of Stormcaller, because this is the deck that it's used in. That's what it's used to do. Card is really good. I like it a lot. Obviously, it's very, very good. Do I want to say that this is S tier? I actually think it's S tier because of what it does. Returning anything, right? I think that's the big thing here. Returns anything effectively from omen to hand and then also replaces it. So you get to do a swap and reuse something. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. Pretty powerful for CL. Next up, we've got the Memento Pocket Watch, which is an Alice and a CL bonus for 1 less to materialize. On charge 3, you banish it, draw a card. The next attack you declare with a unit this turn gains +3 power. D tier. I look at it in the same light as Candlelight Hourglass, right? It costs 1 less to materialize, so it comes in as 0, and I guess that's useful. But you have to effectively wait 3 turns to get +3 power. And the big thing, right, is it gets around something like Reduced to Ash, blah, 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 but it doesn't get around something like Fracturize or even being suppressed, because if it gets suppressed, I'm pretty sure it loses all the charge counters on it. And then it has to come back in and accumulate new draw counters. So yeah, it just doesn't, I don't think it's worth it. Now, with that being said, talking about suppressing, that actually does make me look at these in just a little bit of a different light, but it still makes this one not as good because there's no way to charge ramp and you effectively have to wait 3 turns for it. That's not necessarily an easy thing to do. The Candlelight Hourglass, that can be better, but again, I'm not seeing dedicating deck space for it. So I could say I can see some potential for these cards, potentially see some potential for these cards, but I'm not sold on them just yet, not sold. Next up, we've got the Nefarious Timepiece, which says as it enters the field, choose a Regalia card name. Cards with the chosen name cost 1 more to play, then you pay 5 and banish it, draw a card into your memory. I want to say B tier. I want to say B tier because for something like, you can bring it out again and say like Incarnate Majesty, right? Or no, not Incarnate Majesty. It would be the Majestic Spirit, but that one says put, so that gets around this. But you could even say something like GRC, right? It's like, all right, cool. GRC, now that costs 1 more, but it doesn't get to like change its name. So it's kind of like do it once and then whatever. Costing 1 more to play, like the Vanitas thing where it's like, oh, you have to pay 1 more for materializations, but this is only going to choose 1 thing on enter. After that, it's just chilling on field, and then you have to pay 5 and banish it to draw a card into memory. It's the same problem I have with whichever one it was I was just talking about. Oh, the Leporine Mask, where it's like, okay, cool. Paying 5 just to draw a card into my memory. I would rather this, I don't know, cost 4 than 5, or cost 3 and then you lock this ability behind like CL or something, or I don't, whatever, or cleric bonus. I don't know. I could see some potential for it. I just don't necessarily see a lot for it. So yeah, it's C tier. Next up, we've got Pleiades Celestial Genesis. This is Diana's Astra Etherwing, which is class bonus on enter for Glimpse 3, and on attack, Astra element, either charge cards in the attacker's intent gain on hit summon an Astral Shard token. The Astral Shard token says you may sacrifice it to Glimpse 2, which means if you're launching off an attack with 3 Astra element cards, you get to summon 3 Astra Shard tokens and get a free Glimpse 6 effectively. I think that's pretty freaking good. I want to say that this is also A tier. Yeah, it's A tier. It's A tier. I'll tell you why I think it's A tier. It's A tier, especially when you compare it to something like Mana's Cascade, which does cost 1. Pleiades is 0 cost. It doesn't have Spell Shroud, which is the big thing. It can be targeted, but you on enter get to Glimpse. On attack, you're getting those Astral Shard tokens for the glimpsing, which can be very useful, especially with Either Calling. And it is a base 2/3 weapon. Obviously, it's Astra element, so it makes sense it's base 2/3. But for costing 0, yeah, it does suck that it can get hit by something like a Reduce to Ash, and it doesn't have Spell Shroud, so it can be targeted. But I think the pros of like what it does outweighs those. So I think it's A tier. I could be convinced B tier. I'm gonna say A tier. Next up, Poisonous Apple. On enter, choose a player. That player gains control of Poisonous Apple. Whenever a card with floating memory is banished from grave, deal 2 unpreventable damage to your champion. I'm gonna say that this is B tier. And the reason I immediately threw this into B tier is because I've been trying to brew with this card for a minute. I think that this card has some untapped potential, especially in our sort of level 3 Ryle meta, where it's like everybody's materializing something and they're typically using Ryle to pay for floating cost. So it's like, if I can just get Poisonous Apple out and then I can deal you damage over time, you just need something else to capitalize on this, because this is by itself, this does nothing. But I think there are ways that you can utilize this to really be a pain in your opponent's side, and I really want to experiment with something like that. So this is my cope speaking, because this is most likely, this is a C tier card, but my cope is telling me to put this in B tier. So bear with me, bear with me. Next up, we've got Radiant Vega. This is Diana's Astra Either Wing that cost 1 to materialize. Remove 2 durability counters, rested and pay 2. You negate target card activation unless its controller pays X, where X is the amount of either charge cards loaded into Radiant Vega. Activate this ability only if your champion is distant. So I feel like they kind of nerfed this card, right? And because they nerfed it in that way, I want to say that this is C tier. I want to like this card so much, but it comes in as a base 5 durability weapon. Now you have to remove 2 durability counters for its ability. And I think the big thing is, like, when I compare this to Clarent is clearly better. This doesn't have Spell Shroud. It reads like pseudo Spell Shroud. Like, I negate you targeting this unless you pay X, you pay more to do something to my weapon, but you can only activate that ability if your champion is distant. It already has the Diana bonus. I don't think I would have locked it behind being distant. I probably would have only made it cost 1 durability counter, because you already have to pay 2 from hand, right? You have to remove 2 durability, pay 2 from hand, and rest it. That's a lot. 1 durability, pay the 2 from hand, and not make it so that your champion is distant. To give it the same sort of punching power as Clarent, I think that would have been fair, especially because it costs 1 to materialize. Without all of that, because it has all of that, like, I feel like it's just C tier, and that's like, I feel like even that's rating it high. I think because it has a negate on the weapon is cool enough, and that's basically all you'd use it for. I don't think you would actually use this for attacks. Like, this reads, I have to load some things under here just so that I can negate one of your attacks, because I don't actually want to use any of these for an attack. That's how I feel about it. Wanted to like this card so much, but I really don't think it's that good. I don't. Next up, Ranger Boots. Hindered. On enter, draw card. Rest it, banish it, becomes distant. This is a C tier card, not because it has potential. It's C tier because its ceiling is C tier. The problem is it comes in hindered. You pay 1. Sure, you get to replace the card, which is nice, but you don't get to become distant that same turn. And I feel like, yeah, it probably could have been busted if you were just able to make Diana distant in the same turn. But in the same vein, or I guess it's not just Diana, right? It's anything can, oh no, yeah, this does target champion. But I think in the same vein, I think that's fine if Diana becomes this in the same turn. I think without that, it's like, all right, cool, I'll materialize this, and I'm going to become distant in a later turn, but not right now because I can't do it right now. So I just it's C tier because its ceiling is C tier, but it's just okay. Refluxal with Ribbon, pay 2, banish it, load either wing from grave into a weapon you control. Bottom of C tier because yeah, it lets you recycle anything, which is nice. I think that's where it has the legs, right? Damn, I need like 2 to 3 more damage. Oh, you know what? Let me get this Refluxal Ribbon and I can load a card that I already used from my grave into my either wing. I think it has legs for that. I know not a lot of people play this card. Maybe I'm coping on this card. Maybe I'm coping on it because I think the art is really cute and I have one of those foily shiny ones and I just want to play it. But let me cope. Salamander's Breath. This is the fire either wing for Diana. On attack, you may banish up to X, where X is the amount of either charge cards in the attacker's intent. This attack gets +1 power for each card banished this way. So same thing as Lacuna's Grasp for CL, but for Diana. And this one I think reads better because this one is a 0 cost to materialize, which is really good. And you banish effectively in the same way that you're doing like a Rending Flames, right? So let's say you have like 4. I think that's the other big thing because Lacuna's Grasp is only looking at, I believe, I can't remember exactly what it's looking at. I can't see the text right now. But for Salamander's Breath, you're able to banish, let's say you have like 4 cards underneath, and let's say like 2 of them are Astra, right? So 2, 4, 5, 6, this would be dealing 7, but then you have 4 fire cards in grave. This is now dealing 11. I think that has so much legs. Is it A tier? No. But I want to say that it's B tier. I know there are people who love their fire Diana. I've heard main deck Dan talk about it, which is one of the reasons that I even kind of have an idea about it. A tier? I think it has legs. It's a 0 cost to materialize weapon, but it is subjectable to reduce to ash and fracturize and being suppressed, etc. So I think that's the big thing. Compared to a sword where you declare the attack with the sword, I don't know. I'm going to say B tier. You all can let me know if I'm wrong. Next up, we've got Seeker's Either Wing. This is your starter deck. Either Wing has Spell Shroud and it has True Sight. It's extremely simple at what it does. Here, yeah, I'll put it here. It's extremely simple at what it does. It's a simple 1/3 with Spell Shroud and True Sight. You don't even care about the True Sight. It has Spell Shroud, so your opponent can't target it, which is fantastic. And I think that alone, that's what would make me put it in A tier. But I think because it's so basic, it's just B tier. But again, Spell Shroud, really, really nice. Servant's Obligation. Now this does have an errata, which is not as long as your champion hasn't been attacked. It is as long as your champion hasn't been dealt combat damage this turn. Your champion has taunt, which basically means he will absorb the first hit and then nothing after. And then he has another bonus. And then it has another bonus. You pay 3, rest it, banish it, summon a Vacacious Servant token, which says Vacacious Servant gets +1 power for each attack omen you have, and +1 life for each ally omen you have. So that can ramp like in a really cool sort of way, where it's like, all right, cool, let's say I have like 1 ally, 2 attack omens. That might not seem like a lot, but because he's base 1/1, that does make him a base 3/2. And then you can easily just make him a 3/3 or a 2/3 or a 3/4, 2/4, etc. I think that's really cool. Do I think it's like any higher a tier though? Especially because it comes in hindered. I mean, I guess if you want to give CL taunt so you can protect your allies. Potential. It has potential. It has potential. But I don't know. I don't really see can't see the vision for it, y'all. I can't see the vision. Spellword Scepter, S tier. It's quite possibly the best Regalia in the set, outside of Looking Glass. That's how I really feel that way. Comes in hindered, but for this effect, you don't care. You rest it, banish it. The activation of the next card you activate this turn can't be negated. Now, this is a 0-cost Regalia, which means it can be reduced to ash. It comes in hindered. It can be fracturized. But I think if your opponent's going to do a fracturize on this, or they're going to try to deal with this, I think that's fine. Like, this sitting there to absorb anything that your opponent wants to throw at it, just so that they can have a chance to respond to the card that you activate, I think that's totally fine. I think Spellword Scepter is so freaking awesome. Being able to force cards through, because it's just the next card. It doesn't even say like the next spell card, the next ally card. No, I'm going to use this and I'm going to play Ghost of Pendragon so that you can't negate it. Or I'll use this on my dungeon guide because I know you run Stifling Traps and you're not going to Stifling Trap my dungeon guide. Like, that's really good. Really, really, really good. Quite possibly the best Regalia in the set. Next up, Suspicious Concoction. Whenever your champion levels up, you may sacrifice it. If you do, draw a card into your memory and recover 2. I think, I don't know. This one's tough. This one's really tough. I don't know where to put this. This reads like it's really good. No, so let me rephrase that. This reads like it's decent, but it's also kind of just okay, because drawing a free card is nice and you get that whenever you level up and you get free recovery. So in a way, right, it's kind of like a GRC or a backup charger without paying for it. I think it's B tier. I think it's B tier. That's where I want to put it at. Free card draw because you're paying 0 to materialize it, and a free recover 2 just for leveling up. Only get that once, but it serves in the same vein as those free draw cards do. I think it's B tier. I think. That's where I'm comfortable with it at. Next up, we've got the Trivariate Dream, which is Diana's just base norm either wing. On attack, if there are exactly 3 either charge cards in the attacker's intent, this attack gets +3 power. So that can be pretty powerful. If you just have like 3 norm ones, this would come in and deal 7, but I think it's all right. It doesn't have Spell Shroud, so you kind of don't care. And I mean, you have all these other ones you can play because you have Aqua Mirage. If you're playing water, Aqua Mirage, Manus Cascade, Seeker's Either Wing. If you're playing Astra, you have Pleiades. If you're playing fire, Salamander's Breath. So that kind of leaves this nowhere. I think this is just C tier. I think it has some potential, but not necessarily a lot. And then last up, we've got Votive Runeblade. That's my boy. Going right up here into A tier. And it's like next to Manus Cascade is one of the best. It's so stupidly good. On attack, you may sacrifice another Sword Regalia. If you do, wake up the attacker. Now, mind you, this does matter for himself. Number 1 is the fact that when some of your swords have 2 durability, they don't die when you attack. They'll still have 1 durability. So Votive lets you swing just Votive and sack that sword to get to awake itself because it's wake the attacker. Then you can declare the attack with Lorraine so that you can swing with Votive, sack another sword, and wake her up. Yes, Ryle is a very big helper of Ensoul's game plan, but I don't think Ensoul would have been what it is currently without having Votive Runeblade. And even when you lose Ryle, sure, you lose like a lot of the draw power, but you still have Votive. I don't play Ensoul. I play a more, I don't even know what to call my game plan, but I don't play Ensoul. I just play like Devastating Blow, Honed by Fire, etc. You can really just do Honed by Fire on a Votive Runeblade pre-rec so that this becomes a 3/3 sword, 3 power, 3 durability, and let you swing twice with Crux Knight. If you have 4 swords in banishment, that would be 7 damage twice. 14 damage coming at you is still a very big thing. So Votive Runeblade, very freaking good. The only reason I have it here in A tier is because I don't always need to materialize it. And because I don't always need to materialize it, it doesn't feel like a Spellword Scepter or a Manso Marmoire or the Aqua Mirage Whisper. And I'll be honest, it doesn't even feel like a Manus Cascade. Like, I really am tempted to put Manus Cascade in S tier, but I won't. It'll just stay top of A. And so that's it for our tier list. And so that's it for today's Regalia tier list. If you guys liked the video, please do drop a like, drop a comment letting me know, what did I overshoot? What did I undershoot? What do you guys think of some of these choices? You know, tier lists are personal, and in my word is by no means the definitive word, not like it is in Digimon. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, if you come across from our DGU channel. But let me know what you guys think, if any of these are misplaced or if you think I'm underrating some of these. And also subscribe so that you know when future videos come out. Thank you guys for watching this video, and until I talk to you guys the next time, peace out.